Hello everyone and welcome to Werven's World and welcome to my 5 advanced tips for new players of Stellaris. My previous video with 5 tips for new players was very well received and it sparked a lot of interest and feedback, so I thought I would make another video in order to improve your gameplay. So let's get started. Tip number 1, make sure to always have your fleets orbiting planets when they're not doing anything. You can see whether they're orbiting or not by looking at this icon here. So this green icon means that they're orbiting and this red icon means that they're not. And then when I click on this fleet, for example, you can see when I hover over this destroyer that it cost me 0.88 energy as well as 0.88 minerals. So that's because it's being just stationary, it's just hanging out somewhere in space. If I now right click this planet and unpause,
Construction complete.
then suddenly you can see here that the icon changed to orbiting, and now when I hover over it gets 0.66 and 0.66. So basically I got a 25% discount by having my fleets in orbit. You can do this either at planets that you control directly or planets that are in your sectors. That doesn't matter at all, but it will save you a lot of minerals and energy if you have them orbiting. Tip number 2, in mid and late game you probably have lots of technologies to colonize different types of planets, as well as having some different types of species on your planet. For example, here on my Gaia planet I've got 3 species, which are the Finu, the Oba and the Jibru, which is my main species. So when you colonize planets, watch out where you send which colonization ship, because if you hover over this one here, for example, you can think, ooh, Antaran 2 is a tropical world. I've got an 80% habitability there. I will make a nice colony ship with my main species and send it there. However, this calculation takes into account any of the species I have. So if I click on this, you can see that actually the Jibru only have 60% habitability here and the Oba have 80%. You can also see that by hovering over here that the maximum habitability is 80%, which is by the Oba. So if I really want to have a very happy population, I can decide to build a colony ship containing an Oba instead of a Jibru. But it's not my main species, so it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. So make sure that you send the right colony ships to the right place. So if you've built them, like I have 2 colony ships here at the moment, I can't really see which species is in there, and I know that I built 2 colony ships with different species in them because one of them was very good for tropical, the Oba. There's one way how you can see that. You don't have to remember it. You can click on the planet itself, you can click on colonize, and now I see which colony ships I have, and then I can just click on the correct one and colonize the planet like that. So make sure you colonize the right planets with the right species. Tip number 3, it can make great sense to specialize your planets either in minerals or energy credits because of buildings that give a percentage increase in those resources. For example, here on this planet I have got the power hub, which gives me a 15% increase in my energy credits. You can also get the mineral processing plant, which gives kind of the same amount of bonus but for minerals. Furthermore, you can have planetary edicts such as production targets, which will increase your mineral production by 15%. As well as capacity overload, which will increase your energy credits by 15%. Because these are percentage bonuses, it makes a lot of sense to have a lot of absolute production of credits or minerals and then add these bonuses on top, because then they will give you more score. So specializing your planets is not a bad idea. Tip number 4, note that you can change your government type throughout the game. And you do that by clicking on your government screen. But it's not very clear at all. There doesn't really seem to be a button to change it. However, if you hover over this one, which is your current government, which is a moral democracy in my case, I can click on it, and then you can actually change it to all these other types of governments. It does cost you 250 influence, and I think it can only be changed every 20 years. But yeah, so you can change your government throughout the game. Tip number 5, if you ever think you're not making enough minerals every month, you can actually negotiate for these. You can go to your contacts and communicate with any of these races. For example, I'll communicate with the Kemplar, who are in my alliance, and then you can offer a trade deal. And I can ask, hey, can you give me some minerals every month? And they say no. But then I can give them something in return. For example, in this case, I can give them a research agreement or a migration access. Of course, it's completely up to you what to choose and if it's worth it for you. But for example, if I do migration access, they really like that. So I can actually ask for more minerals. So I can actually ask for 4 minerals per turn. The options differ per race that you contact, because sometimes you can also guarantee their independence, for example, which also might get you a deal. If you have strategic resources such as this Betharian stone, you could also trade that away. So there's lots of options in order to gain some more minerals as well as energy credits. And these were my 5 tips. I hope you found them fun, I hope you found them useful, and see you next time!